Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap. Had a nice, fun Monday on the site with the people. TRI peeps. Oh my goodness. I don't think we are. Where do you begin? This reminds me so much of the days of like 2016 and waking up in the morning to like people banging out doubles right, left, and center. In the altcoin market, I'm absolutely gobsmacked by the amount of profits that people are taking in the penny stock market right now. Needless to say, TRIers are getting paid big time here. So super pleased to see that. What a great way to start your week, eh? A whole bunch of profits paid big time. I never know whether YouTube's going to work for me or not, but for some reason when I do these daily brief recaps, the video always kicks out. So hopefully this works, but we'll try our best here. As I do usually, yeah, thanks, Kevin. He's telling me it is streaming. Usually what I do here for your free videos is I have a little sort of chart deck that we just sort of walk through the major markets and then anything in particular that happens to grab my attention. Needless to say, we spent quite a bit of time through the daily brief today just going through all of the different sectors that are popping. And people taking profits in oil stocks and shipping names and tech companies. I mean, it's quite remarkable how diverse the profit taking is. So way to go, everybody. Congratulations. Ironically enough, the one part of the market that's absolutely catching no interest by anybody whatsoever right now seems to be crypto. So it is what it is. Make hay while the sun shines. And of course, this is such a great analogy of diversification. Understanding that no one particular sector is going to outperform all the time. Different styles come and go. Different asset classes come in and out of favor. And right now, the junior stock market is the place to be. So it is what it is. Looking at our sort of risk on, risk off sort of conversation to start the day, what's sort of the context of the market? While we don't really have any clear reversal signals just yet out of the US dollar, I'm feeling like we're getting awfully close to some sort of pivot here. We have been one directional for quite some time. Things like the euro are actually starting to look very kind of like market symmetry wise heavy. And also, too, I've sort of talked to you guys. My sort of general thinking is this is some sort of big fractal pattern here. We'll see how it goes. Only time will tell. As I've sort of said recently, I'm feeling like we're getting closer to the top. But this would be sort of like the risk on top. This is the risk off sort of proxy. Really, the whole global economy has enjoyed a nice relief rally, probably directly at the U.S. dollar's expense. As long as this keeps going this direction, cool. But my hunch is we're getting awfully close to both key support and actual technical harmonic objectives here. So that's sort of the tone that I've been kicking around here is we're probably closer to a top on risk than we are a bottom. And if we look at all the various different proxies in the market, I think I'm seeing that as well. Stock market, of course, is up at the top end of its range. It's hitting a whole bunch of bullish objectives that you could have painted off of this consolidation off the bottom. We had things like A, B, C, D's actually just get hit up top here. Liquidity pools. There still is this one cheeky little gap way up top here. Ironically enough, that isn't totally out of the question to get filled in here. But, looking at that image, you should look at it kind of like if we were looking at this image over here. At some point, there's going to have to be some sort of bounce. It's now, same thing. At some point, there has to be some sort of trough. I suppose if the central bankers, who basically run the show, If they simply say, look at free money for everybody, interest rates at zero, the party's on us, as long as that tone continues, then I think, market will keep working its way higher. I do believe, though, that we do actually have a big U.S. Central banker testimony in front of Congress this week. So my hunch is market's probably rallying into that, buy the rumor, sell the news, probably hoping that Mr. Powell says, yep, no, we're not foreclosing on anybody. Come and borrow all the money you want. Interest rates are zero. If the market gets that message, then I think the party continues. But my hunch is he's probably going to be like, well, we turned the spigots on because we were worried about how things are looking. Things are looking better now. We might, as the data suggests, right? He's always data dependent. He might start hinting that, hey, maybe it's time we take rates off at zero, something along those lines. Anyway, don't fight it. I certainly, if you had short setups like here, there was a cute little short setup that played itself out and it was exhausted. And if you didn't take any profits here, but you actually ended up seeing that setup get broken, you better honor risk management or one bad trade can destroy you. So don't let that happen to you. If you did decide to take short setups, you were thinking down, and that trade failed, well, you get stopped out, next bus in 10 minutes. And as we said here before, we definitely have location. Now we're thinking indicator confirmation, please. I won't show you that on that chart. But we'd like to see some nice big fat divergences. And then can I have a nice big fat M or maybe a fractal or empire or something to work with to get short. So we don't. Right now we're at location and that's about it. It's interesting to see we've kind of talked about this oil for a while now. I guess the gap here now is that big brick wall of resistance. You can see how the market tried to get into the gap. We got all the way up about halfway. That gap should be filled in. And maybe what ends up happening here is one more push higher here in the oil creates divergences on the indicators on the gap fill, and then that maybe sets up our top. I will say that anybody at TRI, keep in mind, I'm sort of, maybe I'm a bit of a snob, I don't know. But I don't really like the idea of investing in oil. 20th century story, that kind of stuff. But, does that mean that there isn't money to be made in oil and oil stocks? Of course not. I mean, Brian's opinion is that. And, of course, you know how much I think of people's opinions. Look at this tusk. Oh, my goodness. Look at this beautiful W down in here. Needless to say, we had a bunch of people at TRI going, woohoo! Ring that register! So, and even an oil stock that I actually really like fundamentally. Look at this rally. Hey, caramba, look at that W and woohoo! I was kind of thinking maybe what I should do is trade these oil stocks and then all the profits donate to like Greenpeace or something. Cut them a check and then just write on the check, these profits are directly from trading oil. Cash this check at your discretion. Anyway, long and short of it here, oil bulls are very, very happy today around TRI. So congratulations, everybody. Way to go. And, hopefully, you watching on YouTube and free stuff, hopefully you're picking up this idea that if I can find a W after a big range, what's the odds of just a 50% bounce? And really, it doesn't matter whether this is crypto, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's oil, whether it's an oil stock. I mean, this stuff doesn't really change. I could easily see I'm going to buy that W and I'm going to risk to a break of the W, right, which I guess is down in there. I don't know if that'll work or not. And I'm going to look to take profits at the 50% rule. It's a 3.5 risk rewards. And ding, 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 you got paid today. And it's pretty straightforward stuff. Rinse and repeat. Same thing, same poop, different pile. Anyway, congratulations to all the oil bulls. I mean, there was good money to be made there. I'm just a snob, and I just left opportunity. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was some damn fine-looking trades. on two names that, in days gone by, I would have seriously considered trading. But, oh well, it is what it is. Congrats, like I said, once again, to those that were able to take advantage. Um, Interesting how the oil is actually pulling back here a little bit, and those oil stocks are rallying. That might even be a little portender that, hey, the pieces of crap in the market often rally last, or sort of talk about Russell 2000 kind of talk. So maybe we're getting near the end of this move if you start seeing these insane blow-off tops in the junior stocks. Yeah, maybe make a note of that. Interesting, bonds working their way down. Probably going to follow along the same course as the U.S. dollar here. I still think, AB equals CDs bonds could work their way all the way down here. We'll see how it goes. I don't really have a trade here per se. I had suggested if you wanted to play this, maybe hunt this strangle trade, and that would just be working away. We should take a look at those numbers if the market actually does get down into these levels. And interesting, the poor old gold bugs. They took a real punch in the nose there on Friday. And the silver kind of fell apart, and I kind of lost interest in my gold stocks, so I sort of let them go. I don't really have any necessarily breakdowns here. Remember we said that 16,666.2 was the magic level here on this crazy gold, and I thought it was interesting. This morning's low, 1671.70. So they haven't crapped out. But I'll tell you, this is a pretty nasty looking price chart. I don't really want to play in it. I do understand, though, if risk on is petering out, and we actually do get crazy things like sell signals in the oil. If the U.S. dollar is finding a floor, if the bonds do actually turn around here. I talked with the site members today about sort of risk on, risk off. We noticed, and I don't know whether any of you in the public were following this, but the Japanese yen really broke hard there a week or two ago, which sort of led the bonds, and then, the gold sort of begrudgingly was dragged along here. Notice the yen's actually caught a pretty nice bid here. So my hunch is, like I said, U.S. dollar's getting pretty close to some sort of bottom. Maybe we get a little bit of a counter trend rally in the bonds. And maybe that gold, all you gold bugs, maybe that gold holds in there and doesn't crap out. She's right on edge. And I wouldn't even be surprised if gold bugs actually came in and started hunting long setups. I mean, again, it's not a trade I'd be too interested in. But, really, from a risk window, if you can sneak your way in around that 166.2 area, well, it's not a bad trade to trade back up against the top end of the range. As I said, now I'm not really that interested in gold. Now we just put in this new M here, so I'm just like, just leave that alone for now. Having said that, damn thing might just take off. It'll do whatever hell it wants to do. Nothing really there for me to get too excited about. Heading on over to the stock market in particular. Like I said, red banner day at TRI for stock traders. I didn't participate in the oil, but I had lots of names. Remember this Funco I told you about? It's coming into my sell level. I was kind of hoping that I'd be able to tell you bang out doubles. Don't be surprised in the next day or so we actually see a tweet out from me to that effect. And thank you very much, everybody, for wishing me luck on my trade, and it's working out nicely. I got a bunch of stocks that are all sort of moving my direction. I just didn't happen to have any bang-out double fills today, although really close on a couple, so we'll see how that goes. And I'm not really in a big hurry to do anything here. I'll just work my orders, and if I get filled, great. A name that actually jumped out at me, and I'm not really that interested in buying too much stuff here right now. Sort of our risk on, risk off. Gee whiz, we're actually getting up into reload short zones where we should expect to see some weakness come in on the relationship between the Russell 2000 and the Dow. And seasonally, of course, the old seasonal adage is sell in May and walk away. Obviously with COVID stuff and 2020 craziness, looks like that's been, extended a bit. But at the same time, too, I'm thinking, we're coming into the end of the move, not the beginning of the move. So I do want to be really, really selective of the ideas that I would consider buying. And here's a name actually that kind of jumped out at me here recently. Um, Excellent share structure. They only have 20 some odd million shares out. And you can see, just even if we go back into the 52-week range, and most of my 50% rules, I like to use 52-week ranges. So, there's the high from last June, but hell, we could even use this high here. It's fine. So, is it realistic to look for a move back to two and a quarter kind of idea? I think so. And this is the U.S. listed. This is a Canadian company. I actually own it in Canada. So good looking share structure, a little bit different prices obviously for Canadians, but does it make sense for a name to maybe come back and test that level, that level, that level, right? And then if we just do simple things like trend lines, gee whiz, that's way up there. So does this thing have any room to move up? I think so. Good looking share structure, like I said, only 20 some odd million shares out. I don't know whether I'm too jazzed at the actual company platform itself. They want to basically get everybody to centralize their financial data, and they have a relationship. It's an app and all that kind of stuff, and they have a relationship with one of the national media companies. So they're going to try and tie the product into, and in Canada, we're very oligopoly centered here. So that media company has a huge audience, and basically that's their marketing platform for this. So it's an interesting story. The sort of coup de grace for a guy like me was actually they announced, obviously technically W's, hopefully you can see them, reload zones, 50% rolls, blah, blah, blah. But the coup de grace for me, I'm a fundamentalist by trade, rational investor. I want to try and invest in companies with good share structures and try and be long where the directors are long. And one of the best tells of value in the venture capital space is when you get news of the company restructuring itself, having old debt that they owe people, that if the person who was owed the money really wanted to, they could take them to court and sue them into bankruptcy and dissolve the company and just liquidate whatever the assets are, and they have first claim on those assets. But instead, the company restructures itself. They go to the debtors and they say, look, is there, we don't have any money right now, but we've got this great business proposition. Are you interested at all in foregoing the debt and converting that debt into equity in the restructured company, which is a fantastic sign of value if that happens. Because in essence, it cleans up the company's balance sheet, the debt goes away, and now those old debtors are actually stakeholders, they're shareholders, so they have an incentive to make the idea work. So lo and behold, and when I saw this today, I was like, oh, thank you. Lo and behold, today, I loaded up the company's write-up here. Actually, it wasn't off this screen, it was a different one, but Mogo. And the latest news out of the company is announces shares for debt issuance. Woohoo! Love that kind of news. So, that sort of fundamentals, getting into the value proposition of understanding venture capital companies. I don't really expect you on YouTube to understand that. That's a big part of our education program. But, I like to sort of tell you what I'm doing in the market. And so hopefully it's not rocket science to you guys that, gee whiz, Brian went in and bought some stock. What a surprise. So, here's an example of a stock where I asked you all to wish me luck on buying the W, and it looks like your good luck is paying off for me. So thank you very much, everybody, and hopefully by the end of the day, I actually can report a nice double here. And here's one that is in the process of Wing. So again, could you please all wish me luck? And let's see how this W fares. Now, at the same time, too, I also told site members, If this thing craps out and we start failing here and losing this W, I will walk away from this name. So, caveat emptor, buyer beware. I'm not telling you what to buy. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. So, there's an idea for you to chew on. All right, heading over to crypto in particular, the general message on the site, and really it hasn't changed, is we are in bow tie land. I still fully expect, if we take this old market symmetry study off, I fully expect us just to play ping pong between these two trend lines. I don't see any reason to change that expectation. It was interesting, through the weekend, we did get a dump on Saturday that broke some lows. And then they were able to violently reverse it through Saturday and actually get her to close up. A lot of monkey business, a lot of stop runs. And then the question here is, what's the fundamental driver going forward? Why would I buy Bitcoins here? Is there some sort of driver? I should buy Bitcoins because this is coming down the pike or that is coming down the pike. I don't know. I mean, frankly speaking, when I think about it, I don't see any fundamental drivers. So for a guy like me, that basically says expect the exchanges, Arthur Hayes, who has to pay the bills. I don't know who the principals are at OKEX, but they're notorious for stopping people out. Binance, that guy, wouldn't be surprised if he needs to pay the bills. And how do you pay the bills in crypto? You engineer a whole bunch of stop runs and just drive the kids crazy. And that's basically what I'm expecting here going forward. I know it sucks. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to tell you exactly how I feel and what I see. And that's my expectation. Lots and lots of chop here for the corn. Prove me wrong. Breakout. New bull market, please. Let's go. I don't think so. The rest of the crypto space, pretty similar. Kind of just bobbing and weaving. The rest of our sheets here that we like to sort of keep an eye on names that are doing things. Bot setups, etc. I don't see anything here that's changed at all. No breakdowns, no breakouts. Interesting how this little bat's trying to pop up through the top. But you can see Ethereum's just parked. XLM just parked. And like I said, that NEO just parked. Everybody's just parked. I would imagine somebody's sort of just waiting for a shoe to drop. Really that's going to be like, what's a new fundamental catalyst? Most of the Schultz that I've got on the books, just big hurry up and do nothing. Not really pushing any chains or anything. Just very slow and steady. So nothing really to get too excited about in crypto space. I will say, though, there are some fun little ideas that are perking up. I noticed this RLC seems to be catching a bid. Something's going on there. Hopefully everybody, you can see this W that came in here. I often find this. I'll work my stink bids, and lo and behold, basically the W's come in off stink bid levels. That happens a lot. I think I have a free position on this, so there's really no huge hurry to sell. Yeah, I was able to get some off up top there. But nonetheless, good sign. Things are looking uppy. There were a couple stories within the crypto space that are sort of just moving on their own beat. So, and I think that has everything to do with fundamentals. What is your fundamental driver? So, for example, I guess I've been talking way too long here today, but I'll sort of wind this up. Damn, those fucking oil stocks. Jesus Christ, look at them go. On Mondays, we have our CTO on the call. He's a really big fan of, I think it's CTO, which I think is, no, that's not it. What's the name of that crypto.com, Kevin? I know I think you're still out there. CRO. Isn't that what I said? I thought I said CRO. Anyway, relative to BTC, hey, there he is. Look at that move. I thought this was fascinating. What a great example. Stuart's telling us, well, all my coins are locked up for 170 days. So my hunch is they're going to bid this thing up until the airdrop lock is out, and then probably a week before that, look out. So be cognizant of when that lockdown period ends for something like CRO. But hopefully everybody can see the W that came in here. So, you being a buyer here, risking against those lows, I think you're a pretty happy camper right now. Then we also, it looks like we had bot setups that came in, trend continuation. But as I had said, there are little bright spots. And I was even putting out tweets. I won't go into it today. There are a number of cute little names that are putting in weekly W's, and volume is coming in, and these things are rocking and rolling. So be sharp, and let's find those fundamental drivers. Why is your coin going to rally? There's got to be a reason. Okay, I think I'll leave the rant at that for today. Sure hope you enjoyed the broadcast, gave you a few things to think about, maybe an idea to chew on or two. And of course, PMA for the win. My 100% best wishes for everybody. All the best, and bye for now.